Alright, welcome back to Box Office Pulp for the second part of our Dark Knight Rises. We'll go with expose. Sounds fancy. Anyways, it's Mike, James, MB, and myself. No new people. So, you don't have to worry about change. I know it frightens you. Anyways, things get a little bit ugly in comparison to last episode. Much more bickering. Not against each other, more about the shitty quality of the movie, which hurts me to say. Anyways, enjoy.
Here's Johnny. I'll be back.
And you will know my name is the Lord.
I'm walking here. I'm walking here.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Alright, I'm going to start at the very beginning of the movie. I really miss the old DC logo.
Shut up for a second.
Yes.
Before we go on, I have to go do something real quick.
Do you have to pee?
No, but this will literally only take me 30 seconds.
Okay. I'm timing.
It involves medication. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Not for me. It's animal medication.
Okay. Fine.
You just need medication.
He's taking animal medication from the animal.
How else am I supposed to get it?
We're not allowed to be funny while we're on edit points. Because now I have to include this in the show, and it's going to be weird.
Okay, here, while I'm gone, you're now allowed to turn Flexo on.
Oh. I don't know if you can help it. I'm just imagining Hero dancing like Shakira. Those hips don't lie.
He's a belly dancer.
I don't deny it, but my hips don't lie.
Sorry about that. It's for his heart rate, so I wanted to give it to him before we...
Did you wash your hands?
Yes.
Okay, then.
Because there was dog meat on it.
I really miss the old DC logo. The new metallic one with the big D flap, not cutting it.
I have to say that was one of the saddest moments in that movie.
Yeah.
That's where it all went wrong.
It's like,
You knew you were in for a bad trip right when that happened.
Somewhere Dan DiDio was hard as a rock.
ugh.
I was just so
Hashtag
disappointed
hard as a
we
rock.
couldn't get. Just so disappointed we couldn't get 3 Batman movies with that logo.
I know.
So,
Which was just a ripoff of the Marvel logo, but it was an awesome ripoff.
I just had 2 images from Hush in it, but it was still awesome.
There's a fantastic shot of the Riddler.
I always love that. So Riddler is in a way in the Nolan Batman movies.
It's
Whether
like
he
when you
likes it or
see,
not.
it's like when you see the R in the stadium scene. It's like, well, technically Robin was in it. Besides,
The real Robin.
Yeah.
That guy in the stadium was Robin.
Roethlisberger was in the movie.
I'm right. That's put that in my negative comments. Although he did get to die.
Raping.
Oh, right. What were we talking about? Not Roethlisberger. All right. Going in chronological order.
Sports reference.
Ooh, you actually made one. I'm proud of you. Good job.
Thanks.
Background information for before this podcast during the Super Bowl because most of us forgot that it was on then.
We read comic books and watch cartoons. And we also, before recording, discussed Carol Danvers, a.k.a. Miss Marvel, a.k.a. Captain Marvel.
As written by Kelly Sue DeConnick.
That's no excuse. None at all.
Let's discuss Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Okay, no, we're not going to do that. Okay. So, we've already discussed the fact that the movie opened on a sour note, even though, the quality of the film is not determined by a big metal D. But then we
Yes,
go
it
with
is.
Gordon's opening blurb where he's giving a eulogy about Harvey Dent. And it's so frustrating because they had a great setup for the film laid out after The Dark Knight. And instead Nolan goes, 8 years later. And this for me was a horrible idea.
Let's shit
Okay,
on everything that we set up.
Yeah, let's talk about the 8-year thing.
Yeah.
It is always weird when a movie moves that far ahead in time when you know in the real world that a movie has only had like 4 or 5 years between the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would they specify it? Like, there was no reason to specify it, really.
And why just 8?
Yeah, why not 10?
Especially if they wanted to do a Dark Knight Returns thing, which, I mean, that plays on the 8-year thing, which is Dark Knight Returns, Batman retired having to come back was not really earned here. That's what you do for like, the 4th movie.
And the 8-year thing also robbed us of so much. Like, there's no point in the Nolan series now where Batman fought the Riddler, or Batman fought, a number of his rogues gallery, or Batman
did anything really,
or Batman
fought the Joker once.
Yeah,
and retired,
and Two-Face, died, but
murdered.
Yeah, true. But just the 8-year thing is just, why was it necessary? I don't get it. Like,
it gives the film such a weird structure because you have to watch Batman go out of retirement, back into his suit, beat up a couple guys, look like he's back in shape, get broken by Bane, go to the prison, get back into prime shape, go fight Bane again, and it's so weird because you basically get the same cycle twice.
Yeah, Batman returning twice.
Yeah,
Batman retiring twice and returning twice.
I mean, I think MB and I said this once. It's like no one thought, man, I really want to do a Dark Knight Returns movie. I also really want to do a Nightfall movie. I got it. We'll do both.
Two great tastes that taste great together.
Film them all. Let God sort them out.
Also, Catwoman.
To be fair, Jonathan Nolan apparently had to talk him into using Catwoman.
Only if he could call her Selina.
So apparently, like, Catwoman is like the Venom of The Dark Knight Rises.
Pretty much. At least, she didn't put on the costume at the end.
That was
By the way, last night I was rewatching the movie. For the first time, I noticed that in the newspaper articles Bruce looks at on the computer, she's only referred to as the Cat.
The Cat.
Yeah.
Because
there's also an awesome
Catwoman was too much.
There's also
a lot to type.
Awesome recreation of Selina Holt in the lineup.
Yeah.
In the comics, which I want a screenshot of.
To do things with.
Catwoman's an unrealistic name.
Yeah. But back to the 8 years thing. I think what really hurts it too is, okay, why is Bane waiting 8 years to do this? Like, he was.
Well, it's technically been longer because Batman Begins takes place a year or two before The Dark Knight.
Yeah, and not only that, but Talia's plan. Like, Talia, things set in motion, according to her, when Batman killed her father. Mm-hmm. Which means that was like 9 years ago.
Yeah, this is also another thing. Bane kidnaps Pavel apparently a year earlier.
Like I think they say 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it was like Bane just hanging out with Pavel for a while, and
they were chilling.
Yeah.
He put him in the hole for a while.
Bane's my name!
I guess in my ideal version of the movie, it would have started immediately after The Dark Knight with Batman on the run from the police. And you still could have had those scenes like when Batman is on the in the bat flying away from the police. You still could have done that scene essentially. And you could have just cut out a lot of the crap, padding it out.
Imagine that chase scene coming directly after the prologue. That's your introduction to Batman, and it ends with him flying away on the bat. How good of a fucking opening scene would that be?
You mean you want Batman to appear?
Waterfall into the cave.
You mean you want Batman to appear in your Batman movie before like the 45-minute mark?
Oh, hold on a second. We missed something about stuff we like. Yes, I thought of something else.
Please don't say
wearing the costume without the cowl.
Oh God, yes.
We finally got it in a live-action Batman movie.
Yeah,
it's amazing disappearing eye makeup.
That is something that, for some reason, all of us have always been obsessed with. Like, every Batman fanboy has obsessed over seeing that and Batman in front of the grave of his parents.
Yeah.
Because when he's not wearing the mask, it's like he's real.
Yeah. To the point that every kid loved the moment in Batman Returns where Batman takes off his glove. It's
Which
so
is weird when
stupid. Yeah, it's so dumb. Like, but holy shit, he walks out of the bat. He's not wearing a fucking cowl, and he's standing there at the bat computer in full costume without the cowl.
I imagine
Doing
if I was
Batman things.
if I was a kid watching this movie, I probably that would be stuck in my brain for all time.
With his perfectly coiffed hair.
He coiced it before he got out of the bat.
Such a dick.
Anyway, back to things we don't like.
Back to being angry.
Batman's such a dick.
Yes, that was a big problem with the ending for me. But sticking closer to the front of the movie,
We'll finish with the ending.
see,
Yeah.
makes sense. God damn it, it pisses me off how much it feels like Nolan does not understand guns. Like, every time there's a gun being shot, there's like close-ups of them not actually moving. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if he just had a guy standing off stage going, pew, pew, every time he shot a gun.
That scene in the trade, like the stock trade, when Bane enters and like the monitor above him explodes, that's one of the most obvious like effects I've ever seen in a movie.
So, would it have killed him to use some squibs or something? Fire some blanks? I don't know why all the guns had to look like props.
Yeah.
Very minor nitpick, but it just drives me crazy in movies.
And that also happened in The Dark Knight in the beginning when the Joker fires that gun at the bank manager, and it's like you hear a dozen bullets even though the gun doesn't fire a single round.
Well, he changed out the sound. Like, originally when that prologue came out, it was just...
I know, I noticed that too.
And it makes more sense that way, because he hits the guy. I mean, if he shot him with like 8 bullets, pretty sure he wouldn't just be talking to him a minute later.
No.
Would there be more blood?
Yeah. He also edited like that gunfire in a really weird way. Like, it was just... That was a weird moment.
I have...
No one's
also-
like Batman. He doesn't believe in guns.
I have a Nolan doesn't understand certain things about life. Like, he doesn't know about guns. Like, he's heard about
Crime.
Or love.
how healthcare works. Like, he doesn't understand that, or money.
Yeah.
I imagine he's been so rich he doesn't understand what being poor is like, so he tried to make this film to understand it better.
Oh yeah. Well, like Bruce loses all of his money and his car's immediately towed, and he immediately loses all his electricity. And
That's what being poor is like, right? Guys? Yeah? Okay.
it's very strange.
But going back to the that point earlier about Nolan not understanding guns, that's actually a story flaw too. Like the idea of Batman's, and to be fair, this is a flaw that you can make an argument for in the other two movies too. But the idea of Batman establishing a code and then immediately breaking it.
Yeah. Well, I mean that was in the Dark Knight too, kind of a weird thing. But you could,
Yeah.
it was like a magic trick. Let's keep using that because no one fucking loves magic so much. But it's like, yeah, he knocked Harvey off after his entire movie was about, not breaking his one rule. But the camera kind of, was all over the place. So we don't really see him knocking him off.
Well, also, it's like, in the end of the day, he was trying to save a kid.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And you can make the argument that the intention wasn't to kill him, just to knock him over. And
But besides that, I think it thematically goes with the idea that the entire movie, the Joker's been trying to push Batman into breaking his rules, and Batman not breaking his rules. And after Joker's eliminated, Batman has to break his rule anyways. But by lying, he manages to cover up the fact that he broke his rule. So thematically, I think you can justify that one. But the other instances, like in Batman Begins, where he's running over cop cars, or in The Dark Knight Rises, where he's, running around the bat shooting at some bad guys.
Oh, when I was rewatching it last weekend, when he's fucking shooting rockets at the front of the truck, he actually flat out kills a guy. To be fair, he is shooting the ground in front of the truck. That's clear. But one of them then shoots shrapnel up through the windshield and kills the driver of the truck. He lumps over dead right there. It's we just saw Batman flat out kill a guy, and then he blows up a building like 2 minutes later.
doesn't count.
the ground killed that guy.
It's so weird because they show the rockets hitting one of the tumblers and knocking into a wall, but they make a careful shot to show that the drivers inside of it are still alive.
Yeah.
So it's like Nolan's trying to get away with like, nope, not breaking the rule.
Yeah.
Kind
And
of.
also,
It's the A-team.
I think the biggest instance in the movie where that happens is Earlier in the film, Batman saying to Catwoman, "No guns, no killing," and then Catwoman proceeds to kill Bane, and then make fun of his rule to his face, and he's all right with it.
It's a Catwoman thing to do, but that particular moment was a horrible place to put it.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I didn't enjoy the Catwoman-Batman relationship, because it feels like that should be a huge divide between them. They have very different stances on how to go about their lives, and they can't just reconcile that by going, "Oh, you're so funny."
Yeah,
Instead,
let's go to
they end up
Paris.
happily ever after.
Yeah, that's the problem where it was like, so the entire Batman-Selina relationship was just completely rushed in one movie, where they then live happily ever after in Florence, and Bruce doesn't care about his dead parents anymore.
Or Rachel.
Or street
Imagine-
crime, apparently.
He managed to track down the one restaurant that Alfred goes to and got a seat directly in front of him.
Okay, here's my theory. Batman mentions in The Dark Knight if Alfred ever took a day off, he would know where he was. He would track him. And we see Alfred paying for his drink with his credit card. So Bruce Wayne has been tracking every single credit card purchase Alfred has ever made. So he knows when he goes on vacation what restaurant he dines at.
To be fair, Batman's pretty fucking paranoid.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Oh my god.
That is really fucked up.
I think Flexo just fixed a problem in the movie.
That's fucked up.
Fuck you, Bruce Wayne.
God damn it. Like, can't you just let Alfred have something? Jesus, you don't need to know when he buys a fucking hot dog on the street.
I bet it makes Christmas shopping really easy, because he knows exactly what Alfred likes. Like, oh, hey, schnapps. You like schnapps? I'll get him some more schnapps.
Those titty mags again.
He likes taverns.
Chris,
It's
another
much better.
trip to TJ Maxx.
It's better than my theory, which is just Batman actually did die, and Alfred is just insane with grief and seeing him everywhere.
Isn't that what, like, Jonathan Nolan or something was trying to say? Like, you can take the ending any way you want.
Yeah, he's trying to say he didn't want to give a definite ending where he could take it either way. But that would mean there are so many weird coincidences and fuck it. I'm not even going to say the sentence now.
Well, it's being pretentious for pretentious sake. There's a lot of that in the movie.
I'm still stuck on Batman tracking Alfred's spending. Like, Alfred, we need to have a talk about your spending.
Can you imagine, like, Bruce sitting there in the Batcave at the Batcomputer with glasses on going over bills?
He has nothing else to do.
He did have an 8-year retirement.
I thought we were only switching to streaming on Netflix. Why are you still getting the DVDs?
He's not even writing anything. I like how he's just talking in the voice to himself.
Well, he does that in the movie anyway.
That is true. So that's what that's like. The fuck am I talking to? Granted, I know people bitch about that. It's fucking bad.
I like that.
I don't want him to slip back into his normal voice. He's still fucking Batman. He has to talk in his Batman voice. That's my soapbox for the day.
All right. Next up, we're going to revisit something you mentioned earlier, the CIA guy in the plane. Nolan has a great knack for finding, like, the worst, like, 3-line people.
It's amazing. It's in every movie he makes. It's a fucking... He has to do it on purpose, right?
There's no way it could happen otherwise.
I think that they're all related somehow. The CIA guy is related to the cop from Batman Begins.
It's right to the
Who's
guy in
related
the
to
truck in the Dark
cop.
Knight. That's not good.
I'm trying to think if it happens in his other movies. Is there someone in Inception who's that bad? Is there someone in The Prestige that's that bad?
David Bowie.
Take that back.
I take it back.
I think it's just when he's doing comic book movies, that's what he does. He gets horrible extras.
No, he just thinks that cops act like that.
Once again, no one does.
No more dead cops.
He thinks the cops are cartoon characters.
He heard about police officers one time and he was fascinated. He treats them like unicorns.
He lives in this villa in the sky.
He thinks everything should be realistic except the cops.
And nuclear bombs.
Yes, especially nuclear bombs.
This bomb's going to go off in 5 months. 3 months later. This bomb's about to go off in 11 minutes.
And everyone knows exactly, like Talia, like, you just spared Gotham 11 minutes. And the bomb's like, excuse me, it's actually 11 minutes and 35 seconds.
I do love how this bomb's going to go off. Also, we have a trigger for it. So either way, shit's going to go down.
Why don't you just use the trigger? No, we have to wait.
But
Also-
Gotham is still yours.
Also, instead of hiding the bomb somewhere, we're just gonna drive it around in a truck.
In 4 trucks.
Yeah. Isn't the gasoline supply low?
No.
No.
Yeah, my explanation for the whole 5-month, 3-month thing is that nobody knew what they were talking about. Like, Fox was just lying, Bane was lying.
Turns out Nolan also doesn't understand time.
By my estimation, it will go off in 2 seconds. Oh!
We're saved at the last minute by Batboy.
Microsoft designed the bomb countdown thing, so it's like estimated amount of time left before bomb explodes. 16 months, 5 months, 3 months, 2 hours, 5 minutes ago, now, still now.
The bomb wasn't even live, that was just the Batwing exploding. It's nuclear like the DeLorean and Bat through the future.
We keep going back to the ending. We just really want to talk about the ending.
We gotta save that. There's too much other shit.
Yeah, let's
We're
keep
not even
going.
past
Let's keep
CIA
going.
guy
Otherwise, we're going
yet.
to be here for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. The fight choreography. This relates back to the CIA guy. Because it looks like every time he's punched or anyone on the plane is hit or shot or kicked or anything, it looks like the punch is just miles away. Most of the fights in this movie don't look like anyone's actually trying to touch anyone else.
Aside from the Bane and Batman fight, which is really well choreographed, I thought.
Well, there are even spots in there, like when Bane flips around and punches.
When Bane flips
Batman.
around and punches nothing, and
Or every
Batman goes,
time-
oh!
Well,
Like,
there is one moment where at the beginning, when Bane kicks him off the scaffolding,
Yeah.
like he just kicks at the air and then Batman just flies backwards.
Or like
Batman's
every time
not,
comes
Batman
walking.
just has bad balance.
Anytime someone tries to do a headbutt too, it's like someone else just punched you, the head fully extend their arm, and you flick your head forward, and somehow that also hits them. Like, how long is your forehead?
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about him on the catwalk, like, oh no, a gust of wind. Ah.
I think the fight choreography is like 50-50 though. There's a lot of good choreography in the movie still, but there is a lot of.
But for a $250 million film, like, how do you not just hire the greatest fight choreographers to make this work?
Well, also in a movie directed by Christopher Nolan and written by Jonathan Nolan, how do you have a script like that?
I guess I don't know if I can blame the director, or a lot of that is the cinematography. Like, it has to be lined up so it looks like the punches are connecting.
Yeah, there was some bad angles and just bad like cutaways to it, where it looked like it cut away before the punch actually finished.
Yeah.
So it's like Nolan's had occasional problems with editing.
Yeah.
Strangely, and it seems like he does that a lot, especially in the headbutts. I feel like he just cut away from headbutts and stuff like that too quickly.
Yeah.
He was in such a hurry to get the movie made, he didn't even allow the punches to connect.
I think my favorite is when Bane is punching Batman in the sewer, like punching the helmet in, and it looks like he's stopping his fist about half foot short of the helmet. It's like, come on, just punch him. Hit him. It's okay.
Marty, just beat the shit out of Christian Bale for me, okay?
It's alright. Just 5 minutes, he'll be fine.
Batman's
Last one.
just raising his eyebrows and it's breaking his mask.
He's just that weak.
Oh, just because we're talking about it. The scene of Bane punching his mask until it shatters. Am I the only one who thinks that's some kind of weird reference to that weird-ass scene in Batman Begins where they talk about the helmet shattering?
I guess so.
But maybe.
It could connect back to it. I was thinking about that while I was watching the movie today, but it's also mentioned in the film that in Batman Begins that they're crappy helmets and they have to get more of them. So it shouldn't
So
really...
that scene is still pointless.
Considering it's an all-new cowl from the previous Batmans, I guess it shouldn't really connect, but we can't help think about it.
Also, the fact we never got a shot of Bruce with half the mask on still pisses me off.
All right.
I know, that was one of my big complaints. It's like the imagery in it. Like, that could have sold so much about that scene.
You could have had a really fantastic poster, but no.
Yeah.
Instead, we got some bizarre Photoshop nonsense.
The poster
Yeah,
of Bane walking away from the broken mask is pretty cool.
That one was awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Or just the
Oh,
close-up
yeah.
of the broken mask.
Yeah.
Like, those all worked. That was cool.
All the other ones are pretty bad.
Yeah. WB just said, fuck it, we're gonna make $1 billion. We don't have to waste money being creative.
I say that.
WB
while
does that
looking at
a
my
lot
poster
with
of
its
Jack and
marketing.
Bane.
Jack.
Right. Next in line, we kind of mentioned before how the movie is vague on some of its ideas or doesn't exploit them the way it should.
Just throws them in there.
Yeah, the first time I really noticed this was with the Harvey Dent Act. It's mentioned, like, oh god, Harvey Dent Act puts criminals away. And that's all we really learned about it. I kind of wish we had seen more about how this created a police state, how this really was fucking things up. But instead I just feel like, well, these are criminals. I don't feel bad for them being in prison.
Yeah, that was weird. Like, I don't
It's
want
made like it's going to be the focal point of the movie, and then just they immediately gloss over it.
The Harvey Dent stuff flat out didn't matter in the movie at all.
Yeah, it's just kind of made to.
It's just like shit. We had this shit in the Dark Knight, so I guess we have to reference it in this movie.
Well, they could
Like,
easily just skipped it and still had Bane breaking prisoners out of Blackgate, and it wouldn't have mattered.
And what's weird about it is that, you know, the entire point of the movie, as said by the filmmakers, is that everything unravels because of the lie they told at the end of The Dark Knight. Well, if they're going off of that logic, why does it seem like the lie only did good and things only went bad when the lie was exposed?
Yeah, I really wanted them to explore why Gotham is shitty. Like, watching the movie, you're like, I don't know, crime rate's down, nothing seems that bad. You say things are bad.
Off, like, Blake got when it was exposed by, the convenient...
Well, he was only mad for that one scene. He was fine the rest of the time.
Convenient speech that Gordon carried around in his coat for like a couple weeks.
Which, by the way, completely undoes The Dark Knight.
Yeah, just completely undoes that entire plot point.
The entire movie, I say.
Just like the hypothetical Alfred thing completely undoes the...
What if,
Rachel.
possibly, I had a letter, and it was possibly, say, maybe...
A parallel reality.
In an alternate reality, in an alternate universe, perhaps, maybe, there was a letter. It's like,
And one day I will read this letter aloud, but not today.
maybe tomorrow.
Bruce storms off and he's like, wait, I didn't even say that was a real letter.
That's how that scene should have ended.
The thing that gets me is I love the moment in The Dark Knight where Alfred's burning the letter.
Yeah.
It just seemed like that should just been left to that moment.
That's tragic.
Guys, it's okay. Nolan was just trying to embrace comic book movies by having retcons.
Superboy punches Gotham.
Oh my god, Bane really was the child of Ra's al Ghul until Superboy punched the time stream continuum.
And then it changed.
And it was Talia. It all makes sense.
That's why
Returning
Liam
to the-
Neeson came to him saying it was his son.
That's why he fades out of existence. That wasn't an imagination. That was actually him being pushed out of the timeline.
Ra's al Ghul tripping through time.
I'd watch that movie.
Anybody else, by the way, just Roz just fading. As if no one was saying, just in case you were confused.
Yeah.
So
I want
All
a-
of his goatee remains.
I want an avatar of that. Fading Neeson.
No, returning to the Dent Act, it bugs the hell out of me that they set up that the Dent Act is going to be repealed, and then it's never mentioned again.
Oh, like, the mayor's gonna sack Gordon in the spring. And just, they set
Well,
up
the mayor
all
is
this
too
shit
dead to make it
another
different
piece
in the end.
starts happening.
Like, what was the point of half of that?
Like, in a competent movie, you would have the Dent Act, turning Gotham City into a different kind of hell. So that's something the audience feels like something the audience need. Why do I keep saying audience? Shut
Like
up.
something that the audience needs Batman to fight against? Like, was that what
Yeah.
you're trying to say?
That's what I meant.
Okay.
So that,
Kind of like in Batman
Whenever-
Begins where we see, oh, Gotham looks alright, but then we go down to the Narrows and you see how shitty it is there. That demonstrated how crappy the world was and how they needed Batman to kind of come in and clean up this crime. And we don't get that in The Dark Knight Rises. It's like, why are things bad again? Why are we concerned about this bill?
Like,
and so it feels like the secret of Harvey Dent needs to be let out.
Yeah, the Dead Act could have made this whole totalitarian police state where everything's, said to be perfect, but no one has freedom. Like no one is allowed to do anything. Like it becomes sort of the episode of Justice League where they have the parallel universe with the Justice Lords.
Yeah, it's just nothing was done with Billy That Lie other than all the organized crime has just been defeated. That's pretty much it.
Magically.
I think they're trying to loop it back into the idea of class warfare. Like, there's the low class that's worse off than the upper class. But we don't see that and know that it's a thing in that movie. We just hear people saying, like, oh, my money's in my mattress. I don't care if you lose all your stocks.
Yeah, and that's a weird plot point that keeps coming up, like the whole rich versus poor thing.
Yeah, that Nolan doesn't do anything with. It's just like, all right, here's an idea. Anyway, now we're in a prison in India.
I think it falls apart, too, when Bane basically, it's revealed that he doesn't give a fuck about the poor, even though he was playing that he did the entire time.
Exactly.
And why are people fooled by the idea? Because, again, he has a bomb.
Yeah, it just, so much doesn't really make any sense. And the class thing does fall into League of Shadows territory, as is destroying the city, but it's like, the way it's kind of put together doesn't really gel with anything else that's really happening.
And not only that, but
Bane,
it runs the risk of being redundant as far as, bringing back Ra's al Ghul's plans.
Yeah, and a magic device.
I don't understand Bane's motivation at all.
No.
Why the fuck does he give a shit about what Ra's al Ghul wanted to do?
And here's my thing, too, is, Bane in the comics, one of the things that I really love about the movie is the fact that after Bane breaks Batman, he actually does something, to Gotham City. Because in the comic books, when Bane breaks Batman, he's just kind of, well, I did that. I guess I'm just going to wait around for John Paul Valley to beat me up.
Yeah. Well, if I remember Nightfall correctly, he goes out and makes a statement saying that the city is his then. And they just cut out showing him actually controlling the city. Everyone just mentions, oh, Bane's in charge now. So they don't demonstrate it very well.
He's just kind of sitting around just waiting to be, fought against. And
that kind of goes with his characterization in Nightfall, where he just only wanted to beat up Batman because he was the biggest challenge.
They could have taken the opportunity to give him more of a motivation.
Oh, yeah, I think his motivation sucks in The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, they didn't...
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think it, even Bane breaking Batman's back only really took place because Batman came out of retirement.
Yeah. Batman just
that's
got
why... I discussed it, if he kidnapped Gordon or Miranda Tate, or pretend to kidnap Miranda Tate, and forced Batman out of retirement just to break him.
That would have seemed more
better.
Intentional.
Yeah. Instead of just oh, you've stumbled onto our plans, eh?
And why does he want to attack Gotham City then? What connection does he have to Gotham City other than Ra's al Ghul tried to destroy it once?
Yeah. Well, that's why I've said repeatedly the Talia reveal needed to happen a lot sooner, because it's Talia's plan.
Yeah. Really, I think they could have just dropped the Miranda Tate persona completely, and it would have been fine. Because the reveal of Miranda Tate being Talia, it's one of those reveals that's so groan-worthy, it's why do they bother? It's kind of like the truck driver being Gordon in The Dark Knight. We forgave that one, though, because the rest of the movie worked.
And not only that, but it's the general audience isn't going to know who Talia al Ghul is. The fans will, but
it comes too late at that point.
That'll build excitement, because she's going to turn eventually.
Yeah. So instead of surprise, you'd have tension.
Yeah.
That's why I've said before, if he kidnapped Miranda to force him out of retirement, and then in that scene she revealed herself to be Talia, and then he broke his back, that would be better. Or even if she revealed herself when they were trying to get Fox to activate the bomb or whatever.
Or even, again, if she just wasn't Miranda Tate, which, by the way, is the weirdest sounding name I think I've ever heard.
Yeah, I think Nolan's cousin or something is named Miranda, so I think that's where he just took the name from.
Yeah, but Tate?
I think they just went with a T name because of Talia.
Clever.
It's like word association.
Pretty much. That's my explanation for it.
If we can backtrack a little bit, to the class warfare thing, I think it's actually one of the big reasons I don't care for this movie as much as I like Batman Begins or The Dark Knight. And it goes back to the idea that Nolan has a key influence for each one of those films, where he's alluding to some other creation. In Batman Begins, he's mentioned several times that he was basing it off of Blade Runner, at least in the looks and the aesthetic of the city. And it works. I mean, you don't need to know anything about Blade Runner to enjoy the fact that Gotham City looks run down, you got the smoky, nasty-looking Narrows. So it doesn't affect the story at all. It just works.
Yeah, when I had seen Batman Begins, I had never seen Blade Runner.
Yeah,
So.
You don't have to know the source material to understand it, and it still works. The Dark Knight is essentially Heat. I mean, it's basically Heat, except for you've got Batman and the Joker. Again, you don't have to have seen, it didn't matter. If you didn't see Heat, you could still understand the Dark Knight. It takes that idea of Batman and Joker being dual entities with differences on opposite sides of the law and approaches, and it makes that the central core of the movie. So you don't have to see Heat to understand it. It might make it more enjoyable, or you can make some new connections, but just watching The Dark Knight, you can still get that theme just fine.
Yeah.
Then you get to The Dark Knight Rises, where the source material was the Tale of Two Cities. And they just assume that you've brushed up on your Dickens before you walk into the theater.
Brushed up on your Dickens.
So if you haven't read A Tale of Two Cities and you're watching The Dark Knight Rises, you're probably going to feel like, well, these themes feel undercooked. And they're basically telling you, fuck off, go read that novel. You'll understand better.
For some reason, I'm just imagining the scene where John Blake says, no, try my legal name. She says, oh, you should use your full name. I like it better. Charles Dickens.
That was in the first draft.
That would have been amazing.
Time tripping Dickens.
So I really feel like they just got lazy on this last one when they're taking that inspirational idea. And even though the movie's very long and they're trying to include a lot of things inspired by Tale of Two Cities, they don't make them their own ideas in the film and complete them. They basically just allude back to something else and go, good enough.
Yeah. And also, like, even the most basic plot points, like, Batman Begins was largely about fear. That was the main theme of the movie. The Dark Knight was about chaos. This one was about pain. Like,
no, it was about excommunication. You can tell that they said it so many times in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the pain aspect really isn't explored all that well, except for like maybe a couple scenes in the prison, and that's it.
When Nolan said that, I'm like, oh, okay. I don't.
It's like
okay.
I get it in terms of like wanting to do that. I don't get it in the actual movie itself.
Yeah, it feels like, okay, there's a version of this movie that would play that up really well, but not the one that we're actually watching.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the most obtuse, obvious way would be to say, oh, well, Batman's back is broken. That means pain. It's like, no, that's stupid.
Well, I like the idea when they're in the jail and they mention, oh, this place is so bad because there's hope that you can escape, but you can't. So it's a different kind of torture. But again, we don't really feel it when we're in the prison.
Yeah. Prison seems pretty okay. For the most part.
It's a cozy prison.
Like, the prisoners just wander around.
Yeah.
There's no guard.
He's got his own personal doctor who's healing him for some reason.
With magic.
Who can heal his broken back.
He's got a high-definition television.
Yeah, you can apparently get Gotham News.
Like, would it just have killed them to do a radio?
Although if we did the radio, we wouldn't have got that great shot of the 3 special agents hanging off the bridge.
That is true. I mean, to be honest, the TV thing never really bothered me as much. I know it did a lot of other people, and I can see why, but it's like, it still did give us some cool moments.
Just imagine Bane going down there and installing cable television. I've got a surprise for you.
I'm a representative of Comcast.
He took him all the way down there. He took him down to the prison just so he could wake him up and be like, so this place sucks. So long. I imagine he'd have to be the one installing the cable. He's hands-on.
And he is wearing the perfect cable installer outfit.
Yeah, he went into the prison and made the bed uncomfy personally. Took out the stuffing from the mattress.
He becomes Batman's Jackal.
Remove one spring from this bed, and I'm not going to tell you.
It just feels so weird that he has to go all the way to that prison outside of the country. Like, right after he puts Gotham in lockdown, like, why did you do that? Couldn't you just put him in some sort of prison in Gotham?
That I got because it was the prison he had to suffer through.
Symbolically, it made sense.
Yeah, I can understand it, but it still felt really weird, and it gives that odd moment where Batman escapes prison and has to get back to Gotham, even though he doesn't have any resources, and they just don't show us how he did it.
That was always...
That could have been a great moment in the film, like a montage of Bruce using his skills and abilities to get back to Gotham.
Yeah, actually, that was one thing that I realized could have been solved very easily by having Bruce Wayne stand outside the gates and having the guards find him, and them realizing, oh, this is Bruce Wayne. I mean, how do we not notice him trying to escape? Like, let's take him back to Bane. And that would have been feeding Batman's plan because, that would have brought him directly to Miranda and Lucius.
Kind of parallel the opening to on the plane where they capture Bane.
Yeah.
It is weird that Bane's men capture Bruce. Doesn't most of Bane's men know Bruce is Batman?
They should all know. Everyone who's worth anything.
I mean, they did not tell Bane, like, hey, we captured Batman earlier today. He got away really easily.
Well, it's so weird, too, because they bring him in with a pillowcase on his head and then immediately take it off. So why?
Listen, we don't want you to know where you are. I'm in the Gotham courtruhouse.
Oh, well, take the pillowcase off then.
It's more dramatic.
Well played, Mr. Wayne.
Bruce,
you truly are the world's greatest detective.
You know what you are. You're all party pooper. No one enjoys you.
Bruce is wearing the Bane mask.
No one cared who I was until I was Batman.
It just really didn't do a good job of playing up that whole, the clash of the classes.
Yeah,
returning for just a second. Sorry. Returning to just a second for something I did like. I forgot to mention earlier. We were talking about the prison. I did like the mirroring of Bruce falling into the well in Batman Begins. I thought that was kind of ingenious.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And also reminds me of another thing is that they could have called it the Lazarus Pit. Like, how amazing would that have been?
It would have been awesome.
No, that would have been silly.
Completely unrealistic. Anyway,
let's bring in Robin John Blake.
That actually segues great, because I want to talk about just the amount of new characters that they put into this one. Even though the movie is like 2.5, no, longer than that, it's like 2:40. It's a long movie, but it's the last part of a trilogy, and there's a bunch of new characters thrown in, and it feels like none of them get the time they need to really be considered worthwhile additions.
Like a third movie in a trilogy.
Well, let's face it, there's no need for Matthew Modine to be in this movie.
No.
His half-assed story arc.
Or Daggett, really.
Or the Jen character, whatever her name is. But even if you look at the other characters, like, you really could have eliminated them or changed their arc so they were more important.
Well, Matthew Modine's arc is, he's a dick and then he's not a dick and then he dies.
And acts badly.
Apparently, there was going to be more to his arc originally where he pushes a woman out of the way and then gets run over by Talia's tumbler. And instead they just change it so it looks like he gets gunned down. And
also, and either way, it doesn't matter.
Not really, no.
Because nobody cares.
I don't even think Nolan cared because the way his death happens, it's like the most nonchalant thing.
Yeah, he's just laying on the street.
Laying on the street in the most dainty pose imaginable.
It would have been hilarious if he got up after that and he looked around like, are they gone yet?
And the slow pushing on him like, we care. Like, look at the dead body.
We all hated this guy. Like, he sent his wife to answer the door for him. He didn't want to talk to Gordon about helping the city. He keeps calling Levitt a hothead. That guy's really annoying.
Favorite thing. Like he's suddenly a cop out of a 30s movie. We need a sign out front that says no hotheads.
I'm gonna be the guy that catches Batman. It's just like,
he's as dumb as he dresses.
Kmart Bullock.
Like a rat in a chat, gentlemen.
So, yeah, and all the different cops, like the guy who's in the cop car with the younger cop who's never seen Batman. We're in for a show tonight.
As if Batman's been away for like 20 years.
Well, 8 years.
The guy's not that young. Like,
yeah. But I'm just saying, like, why couldn't they have used one of the cops from The Dark Knight? Like, what's his face? The one that Joker takes hostage?
Yeah,
Hey,
why
Mark,
didn't he
look.
come back?
Go back a lot of random people, except, like, those guys.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
it would have been...
Brought
Where
the
the fuck was
Asian guy
Steve?
from Batman Begins.
Where was Stevens, a.k.a. Bullock?
Or Ramirez, aka Montoya.
Ramirez.
Two-Face let live as if she was going to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Betrayal Montoya.
So we set up all those
Even
characters
though-
in The Dark Knight, and we don't bother using them again? Let's just introduce new people we don't care about.
Yeah. And not only that, but it's like, really, you think about it, the only two characters that are necessary are Bane and arguably Catwoman. And even that is like, you can make an argument for not being necessary.
Well, it's so frustrating because you see Catwoman blow up the tunnel, but we never see anyone try and use the tunnel to escape at the end of the film. So why bother having her do that? Like, why didn't Blake
Yeah,
team up with
just
her
to-
and try and take everyone through the tunnel?
Well, to show her contemplate leaving and then not.
Also to see her bending
Ass.
over.
Ass. Ah.
Yes.
I have to think that they designed the Bat Pod in The Dark Knight solely so that in the third movie they could have Anne Hathaway on that thing.
That's the only reason Nolan made the movie. He was
She was
done after The
originally
Dark
going to-
Knight.
She was originally going to replace Bale as Batman.
I could see it.
I could too. She would act the hell out of that.
Anne Hathaway is Batman.
I accept it.
We amused ourselves.
Oh, also, just popped in my head. Does anybody else have the theory that mentioning Gordon's wife left him and took the kids was done in ADR just because no one forgot no one was married and had kids in the other movies?
God, it feels like it, because it's just a throwaway line, like, oh, in case you forgot who Gordon is, let's do a little bit of talk about him. Just a little bit of exposition.
And by the way, way to stomp out Barbara Gordon.
Yeah. Or Nolan or Gordon's family being so important in the third act of The Dark Knight, and now it's like, no, they just left.
It's like it wouldn't have mattered if his kid was shot by Two-Face.
Stop pointing that gun at my family.
Modine's character shows up. Hey, somebody get that hot head out of here.
No, at that point it would have been, someone get that half head out of here.
Oh. Yeah, it's like no one just didn't want to deal with Gordon's family. Like,
His traumatized son.
No, I feel like Nolan didn't want to mess with a lot of the stuff he set up in The Dark Knight. Like the letter, just, no, crap, we burned that. Yeah, we can just bring it back up.
Or the lie, which is the integral part of the plot.
yeah. By the way, why we mentioned Gordon's son? Is it me, or is that event great motivation for him to become a killer later on?
It is.
I thought the same thing.
And that was before they made him a killer in the comics, too.
It's really weird. Anyway, moving on to Dark Knight Rises.
Just like that, if that had been
Batman the Black Mirror.
If that had been Barbara, you would have thought, well, that's the motivation for her to become Batgirl. Because it's James, that's what's going to make him a serial killer.
Those dead eyes.
His orphan eyes.
Well, let's talk about that scene. No, I guess we'll get to that.
By the way, how
back
far
to-
are we into your notes, Flex?
Okay, I'm on note J. For reference, I go to quadruple V.
Fuck
Ow.
you. What the? Why are you such a robot? God damn it. Let's keep going on your fucking
What's a,
God
what's a
damn it.
quadruple B?
No, D, not B. Okay, so it goes through
Yeah,
the
that helps
alphabet.
a lot. Thank you.
It goes A, B, C, D, E, it goes through the entire alphabet, and then when it hits Z, it doubles back over, so the note after note Z is note
Just go to your list.
Then it goes all the
I
way through
assumed
until
that. It was
note
rhetorical,
ZZ,
man.
and then it goes to note
God.
AAA, and then it goes
Dude,
through all the way back.
it's midnight. It is midnight. Keep going.
We've still got like 60 notes to go through.
What the fuck? What did I just say? Keep going.
Alright,
Stop
next up.
pointing that gun at my family.
Somebody get this
Right.
head out of here.
Oh god. Next up for me is Shut In Bruce Wayne. And we talked about this before, how it just really messes up the structure of the film, because we have to watch his cycle twice. Like, Shut In to Hero, to, Cripple, back to Hero.
Christian Bale is Bruce Wayne as Oliver Queen. I mean, that alone made the shut-in Bruce for me.
But, it just goes back to why Batman retired in The Dark Knight is because no one wanted him. There was no real reason for him to be. Just no one wanted him to be retired. We shoehorned in a bunch of weird reasons that didn't make any sense, and so we get Shun Bruce Wayne.
He shattered his leg, falling 5 feet at the end of The Dark Knight.
They removed all of his cartilage from it.
Not my kidneys.
And also, he apparently doesn't eat during the day. Like, it honestly looks like he starves himself.
he's practicing for the machinist. But I guess the biggest problem with Shun Bruce Wayne is the fact that it prevents the audience from seeing Batman for a big chunk in the movie.
And then Batman's taken out for another big chunk in the movie.
Yeah, it's like I came to this movie to see Batman, not
It's a
Bruce Wayne
Batman
hobble
movie.
around.
Yeah, we should really count how long Batman is acting in the movie. I'm thinking it's only at most 15 minutes, if that.
It's I was thinking about counting that, but I wasn't sure how you do it. Like moments where he's in the bat, does that count as him being Batman?
Yes.
Okay.
When he's doing Batman things that involve him wearing a costume.
But what about the time where like we're focusing on what Modine's saying to hotheads while Batman's doing his thing somewhere else in the city? Does that still count as time for Batman? So you have to continually like pause it and count it. And
Look, everything involving Modine, discount.
Discount it against the running time.
Well, speaking of the running time, when The Dark Knight ended the first time I watched it, if they had replayed it right there, I would have sat there and watched it again. I've never squirmed so much in my seat watching a movie before. The movie just drags so much in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And watching it again last week was it was pretty rough.
It needs a re-edit.
It feels twice as long.
I think you could re-edit this film. Like, you know how people go through the Star Wars prequels and Topher Grace is like combine 1, 2, and 3 into one big movie? I think you could do that with The Dark Knight Rises. You could just cut out like an hour and a half of the film, and it'd be much better for it. And you could just change the story a little bit, make some tweaks, do a little bit of ADR.
Maybe somehow more coherent.
ADRing Bane would be very easy.
We've got a million people online who would love to do it. Plus, you wouldn't have to match up any lip syncing or anything. It'd be great.
We use MB.
Of course.
MB in his coffee cup.
This brings me to my next point. We could get rid of Alfred's speech about drinking in France. Because it just feels so self-serving, like, oh, we have to return to this at the end of the movie, so let's just put a reminder in at the start.
And here's the biggest problem with that. That enacts an ending which is Alfred's wish. Like, it never feels like Bruce actually wants to settle down and have a life afterwards.
Yeah.
It feels like he's just doing it for Alfred. In which
Alfred
case...
acts really weird in this movie.
Yeah.
I felt like they wanted to get rid of Alfred because they didn't want to kill his character off. So they just wrote a really lame excuse for him to not be around for most of it.
Because he suddenly hates Batman.
Yeah. By the way, that cave, which even though in The Dark Knight he's almost teaching Bruce that he has to be Batman. But
no matter what.
But that cave scene where he explains, that really specific memory for no real apparent reason, it's just not a good scene.
No.
Like the frustrating thing is I like the idea, like the sentiment that Alfred is trying to get across. That there was a part of him that didn't want Bruce to come. Like, I like that idea, but just in execution, it just does not work.
It's just so on the nose. Like it's just, there's no subtlety to it whatsoever. I don't think Nolan understands what subtlety is.
No, I've said that many times. He does not.
It's especially he doesn't understand subtlety either. Add that to the list. It's so frustrating because if you look back to Batman Begins, we have Alfred's "Why do we fall" thing, which gets brought up several points in the movie, and it actually works. Like you get to the end, and he's telling Bruce, "Why do we fall?" And you're like, "Hey, I'm there. I'm good with this. This is a good emotional connection. It makes sense for the character to say." Or in The Dark Knight, the "I told you so" thing. It works. And then they try again here with the speech about drinking in France, and it's just not a good follow-up. It feels so forced compared to those other moments.
The speech where he tells Bruce that he needs to fall and stay down.
Why do we fall? So we can give up and go home.
Also, it's just like, it just spoils the ending.
That's true.
Like, it just describes, you could have had Kane literally reach into his pocket and pull out the script and just memorize his line on camera and say, okay, there's going to be a scene at the end.
Hypothetically. At the end of the movie.
Just for giggles.
Let's say I was holding in my hand a script, and I was in reality an actor named Michael Caine, portraying a comic book character.
Bruce just looks really confused.
He still
Like
puts it.
Alfred has dementia.
Let's say this comic book character was created in the 30s. Just keeps going.
A man
going.
named Bob Kane. Some people believe that Bill Finger should be credited. There's some debate about that.
There shouldn't be debate about
Alfred's
it. Bill Finger should get all the
Deadpool
credit.
of the DC universe.
But
This role was
Alfred-
also played once by Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
But Alfred, I said right
And the
after I
late
saw the
Michael
movie
Go.
that he was just out of character in regards to how he was portrayed in the previous movies.
Yes.
It just didn't make sense. He was just acting that way because
And it's like they could have explained it by saying, he's seen Bruce torture himself all these years, and he goes against his own wishes as far as that goes. It's like he's thinking about Bruce's safety
Well,
or Bruce's health.
they try a little bit by saying, they don't need Batman, they need Bruce Wayne's knowledge. So, okay, yeah, that'd be a good transition.
But then he just wants him to, be at a cafe in Florence.
Yeah.
Also, why does every character want Bruce to fuck Miranda Tate so bad?
Or Selena Kyle, really anyone.
I'm too old for it, sir. I want to experience it through you.
In your master
that like
bedroom, I have installed several small cameras.
So if you would please hurry up, I'm getting along in years.
To get off that image, this is another nit.
No, get on that image.
No, moving forward. Okay, so Selena dusts the safe to get Bruce Wayne's fingerprints.
Oh God!
Why was he using his thumb to put in a combination?
Listen.
All of his fingers.
Listen.
He just rubs his hand on it.
Like, when I
Wonders
open a
if they're
safe, like I
drunk
use
sometimes.
one all over, just touching it, fondling the safe.
What are one of these prints?
Mommy.
She may have dusted like where he grabbed the door to swing it open.
But even then, like, okay, I guess you could put your thumb on there, but it feels like pretty smudgy because you're swinging open a door.
I mean, listen, the entire plot of needing his fingerprints could have been removed from the movie and didn't matter. It barely matters as it stands.
They needed the world's greatest cat burglar to get his fingerprints.
But I love it. Okay, so we've got the senator who's on the ground who hears the entire plan and the interaction like, oh, we need Bruce Wayne's fingerprints. I'm not going to listen to any of this. I'm drunk by the counter.
I mean,
and
like,
Bruce doesn't even try and tell people like, hey, I didn't do those. He's just like, well, I guess I did some bad trades, everyone.
Like, Daggett hired the greatest criminal organization in the world. And then it's like, wait, you need Bruce Wayne's fingerprints. I'm not going to use you. I'm just going to go hire this cat burglar over here.
Well,
I don't know how I got her identity.
The League of Shadows probably just outsourced that.
Can you imagine Bane in Bruce's bedroom trying to dust for prints?
I guess I'll try the phone next.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm here to install the cable.
Okay, here's a better
All the
plan.
hair in this brush. Oh, it's disgusting.
Bane goes into Bruce's room at night while he's sleeping, and then just chops off one of his hands and takes that to the stock exchange.
Oh, and then Bruce gets a trident for a hand.
Exactly.
Then he's Aquaman.
Just imagine the movie you can make with Bruce having one trident hand.
That's how he got back to Gotham. He swam there.
To me, my ocean friends.
He rode there on a sperm whale.
Christian Bale calling about the marine life.
That's a movie I want to see. He rides back into Gotham on like a narwhal
Dolphin kill Bane.
with his trident hand. Why didn't we get that movie? The next note I wrote was just, Foley needs to get off his hothead obsession, which I believe we discussed.
Yeah, I think we can move on.
He's racist against hotheads.
He is. Alright, what about Bane's number one lackey? So if we look at the movie, Bane essentially gets kind of reduced to a lackey, and Bane's got a lackey, but that lackey gets a few lines or very little importance attached to him, but we still get a lot of shots of the guy.
That was weird, because it's like, he looks like, he has this weird smirk the entire time.
He's just glad to be there.
I mean, it's cool that like there's kind of a face to one of them, to his second-hand man, and we know who he is. We can immediately place him, but there's nothing really like. You don't see him like get his ass kicked or anything at one point.
Well,
He's the reboot Bob the Goon.
Well, it's weird because it's like a notable actor. It's Josh Stewart, who's been in a couple of things. So why did they feel the need to cast him as like this no-name?
Well, why cast Juno Temple as like a 3-second cameo?
Yeah, I just don't understand it.
And also going back to the character, like there's one of the scenes that really got me, and when I was in the theater was that scene right after Bane is in the stadium explaining his plan, where the military goes onto the bridge leading into Gotham, and he steps out like the main goon, and says the exact same thing Bane was just saying.
Yeah, as if the military didn't understand any of it.
Just to remind
There's a lot
us.
of that in Nolan's movies.
Yeah.
Let's explain how the microwave emitter is going to work 4 times.
Oh, well, like, okay, Bruce gets back to Gotham, and he already knows that the bomb will explode at, like, a certain time.
And he found a suit.
So he knows a lot of the plot details that are going on, even though he hasn't been in Gotham. And it's weird because no one has sat down to explain to him what's happening, even though the audience has had it explained to us like 4 times.
And managed to find the exact street corner Selina was on at that moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was also tracked for apple eating.
You know what's weird? He has a headquarters outside of Gotham, the Batcave. Yet he still has to find his suit.
What is
in
this
the place.
Batcave you speak of?
Nolan just hates the Batcave.
And he still has to go to the hideout from the Dark Knight to get a suit and his weapons.
It's like he couldn't have made a stop like right before he came back. Even though was it that the Bat was parked on a rooftop for 5 months?
Yeah,
or
with
was
a
it that
tarp
he
on top of it?
Or that he parked that when he came back to Gotham?
I think he oh, wait.
I think he just left it there.
Well, no, you would think that he would take the Bat and not just leave it in the city.
Well, you would think a lot of things, but...
Well, it wouldn't make any sense. If he's running from the cops, why would he be on top of a building and then be like, oh, no, I'm Bruce Wayne again?
I was thinking about this. You know, they set up the Underground Railroad thing in Batman Begins from the Batcave. Why didn't they use that to explain him getting into Gotham?
I don't know. They still show it in the Batcave, so it...
Yeah, so I understand why they didn't use that as a plot point. It would have made perfect sense.
And it would have been a nice callback to Batman Begins.
Yes. I'm still mad, though, because the sewers in this film are bigger than any other sewers.
Oh, they're gigantic.
They're movie sewers, for sure.
I love Bane's hideout, which is like the size of a football stadium.
His sewer coliseum.
But it's so frustrating because they mentioned earlier in the film, like, oh, people are living in the sewers and they're dying down there. But that's a great chance to show how shitty Gotham is, that people are, like, hiding in these giant sewers. And no, we just see people, like, working in the sewers and all of Bane's grunts. So it's like, why not utilize this huge set you've made?
I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I don't like Bane's introduction in Gotham, with Gordon just stumbling upon his hideout, and Bane's just like, I've already been here for a while, so...
I've been hanging out.
Yeah, so you go away, I'm just going to go back to work.
I'm more frustrated by that scene because Bane's like, you cost us several lives. Search him, then I will kill you. The grunt then hands Bane Gordon's gun. He really did not want to live.
And then Gordon does the tuck and roll.
Yeah, Gordon meanwhile is like, well, this guy's fucking retarded, and he just dives.
And not only that, but it's like, so is Gordon like James Bond suddenly? Like, how does he think to go for that?
I'm more concerned about, like, he gets shot apparently in the leg, and he's in the hospital for, like, days and days.
I know, that was so...
And then when he gets out of the hospital, he's walking around just fine, so apparently the leg wound wasn't that serious. Like, he didn't break any bones.
Well, that goes back to, like, the whole thing with Bruce wearing a leg brace and then having his costume taken away, and yet he can still walk fine.
Mm-hmm. And what would the leg brace really do? Because he doesn't have cartilage. There's no lubrication in his knee.
It's magic.
It's not important.
Okay.
Magic.
It also allows him to break his building.
I mean, we've firmly established Bruce Wayne can talk to fish, so.
That's
also,
canon.
if they had cut off his limbs and replaced them with tridents, it would have made up for the fact he didn't have cartilage.
Wait, all of his limbs?
All of them. He has tridents for everything.
Well, Bane took all of them to get the fingerprints.
He walks on
Use your
tridents.
ting, 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 ting. Holy shit, it's Batman! His heroes coming up. Oh! Like, come on his
Fucking
back!
scary
Oh
would
god!
that be?
I've been defeated! He's back on his back, flailing, striding around.
It's like a turtle.
I just imagine he sticks out his arms and his legs like a starfish, and that's how he rolls around on the tridents. Like he's a giant human throwing star.
He starts killing people.
How fucking scary would that be? You're a street thug in Gotham City. You look between two buildings in a dark alley, and all of a sudden you see a guy whose arms and legs are tridents racing towards you, screaming, wearing a Batman mask.
I feel like that was a character out of a Tim Burton Batman movie.
He's standing on top of a building on a gargoyle. Let's try it.
He's changed his name to Trident Man.
He's like, how the fuck do I get down?
It's time my enemies share my dread. Ting, 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 ting.
He tries to drive the bat. It ends up breaking the controls.
Yet somehow, no one puts two and two together. They quadruply and horribly
Newly
quadruply.
quadruply.
No, everyone else in Gotham would know that he's Starfish Trident Man, except for Commissioner Gordon.
That is going back to the Dark Knight Rises. I see what you did there.
Oh god. Oh man.
I'm dead now.
Just ting 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 ting.
I just like the idea, going back here, I like the idea that not only did Bane take both of his hands for identification when he only needed one, but he also took his toenail imprints, I guess. Like, let's take his legs too, for sake.
He cut off his legs like at his knee.
I wanted to be thorough.
I imagine he also
cut
cut
off
off
his legs
arms
so he
at the
couldn't come
elbow.
back to get his hands.
So he's almost like just a torso with tridents sticking out in four places.
He walks around like Cotton from King of the Hill. Bane took my shins.
I can't take this anymore.
They cut back to the sewers. Bane is holding Bruce's legs, like upside down, using them like sock puppets.
He throws them at him.
It's like, Bruce, you're the most richest people in the world. Why can't you just get prosthetic limbs?
Okay, Bruce Wayne goes to confront Bane, and Bane is holding his legs, and he's like, "Let's not stand on tradition."
Oh, pun Bane. You're so crazy.
You see what I did there?
Because I took your legs. Hold on.
God damn it.
Okay.
Joke of the podcast.
I don't even know why we got that.
I don't either.
I'm laughing so hard my head's hurting.
I honestly don't remember why I said you would have tridents for everything.
I don't know how it started.
Fuck. I think I lost my voice again.
Oh my god, that's why it's called The Dark Knight Rises. The end of the movie is him putting on his trident legs again.
No more.
And like that,